Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana, this is my dog Gunner, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 scariest moments with Gunner. Before I get into the video, I just want to thank you all for being patient with me and not leaving, as I am very aware I haven't been as frequent with my uploads. It is drawing to the end of my college semester and things are getting real serious, so just hold on for a little bit longer and I'll be back to making my normal frequent uploads. Until then, I'm just going to hit you guys with some more educational content, and you know, that'll be helpful for you guys. And you can hear about some scary stories. I have them listed on a notepad just so that I can keep my brain straight. But anyway, I want to thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, and if you look in my channel bio down below, you might notice that from now on I'm going to be putting all my plant-related videos on a different channel because it just needs to be organized, I guess. But with that being said, I will get right into the video. I'm going to be counting down with 5 being the least scary and 1 being the most scary. So the least scary out of my top 5 would be when I was playing fetch with my dog in the backyard and someone who has a diagonal yard from us, their dog jumped the fence. So I'll give you the backstory. We don't have a fenced-in backyard, and as you all probably know, I use an e-collar for my dog to be a responsible dog owner. I don't ever use it for training, but I use it in case if he decides to just like ignore the training. So then that way I don't have to have him on leash all the time in town, because I just feel like there's more to life than the end of a leash, you know? So we were playing fetch in the backyard. He had his e-collar on. You know, he was doing really good. He's having a great time. This was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago that this happened. And the neighbors at the time were in the process of building a fence, and they just had like a chicken wire fence at the time, just like as a placeholder. And no one thought the dogs would jump in, and until the dogs actually jumped in. So the Burmese mountain dog jumped and started circling Gunner, and I didn't have to even use the e-collar for Gunner, but I was just like, Gunner, stay, stay, stay. I was like freaking out, and I made it so that I was standing like above him and he was like in between my legs, and I just was kind of shooing the dog away, like going like this, until the owner was able to come over and grab their dog. Other than that, it wasn't that scary, and they even made it so that their fence is completely not see-through, so I don't think the dogs even bark anymore when I have Gunner outside doing whatever, because they're more of the sight dogs, you know? But yeah, that one was a scary experience, but there's been worse. So then the next one would probably be when I was walking Gunner. I've had multiple instances of mixed breed, but there's definitely probably pibble and boxer in it. That also has had problems with other dogs, and I don't know, like, I know the owners just, they don't really have it out in the front yard or anything anymore, but this dog had no collar on, no nothing, and the owner left it outside as I was walking past their house, and it just ran and lunged for Gunner's neck. And there's only so much I can do, and this was just like maybe 6 months into when I got Gunner. I was like, oh my gosh, oh no, no, no. I was so nervous and scared. And luckily the owner was able to somehow manage to grab their dog, because it just kept on going right for his neck. And I heard that other people had worse instances with it. But luckily Gunner got out okay, and at the time Gunner wasn't very well trained either. He was very sassy. He wasn't aggressive like that, but he would definitely like run away from me to see another dog at the time. So they had just gotten their dog too, so I couldn't be upset because it was just a misunderstanding. Like, they were just having their dog get out of the car, and the car is right next to like their fence, so you know, you wouldn't think that you need a collar on for like that 3 seconds, but of course during that 3 seconds is when I decided to turn the corner and walk past their house. So I'm not upset with them or anything. It's just, you know, that's why I always have an e-collar on Gunner, because just in case, you never know. This one, I think, happened the same day that Gunner was attacked by that dog. I swear I walked longer down the block, and we were just having a bad day, I guess, because there's this man who had a German Shepherd outside, no leash, no collar, no anything, and it ran across the street right up to us, and it wouldn't go back. He's like, oh my gosh, my dog never does this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, uh-huh. And then it was getting in between me and Gunner, and then the man, I was gonna, you know, take care of it, grabs onto Gunner's leash so that I can't get myself in between Gunner and the other dog, and then he drags his dog over Gunner. And then Gunner obviously freaked out because the dog's over him. And after he got his dog under control, I'm like, what you just did was so wrong. Never do that again. Like, at least, like, if you have no idea what you're doing, let someone who does know what they're doing take care of it, because you could have caused an actual dog fight from doing that. So, I was more upset and angry than I was scared. But looking back, it's a scary situation, because what if it had turned into a dog fight, and what if it had made Gunner aggressive? Luckily for me, Gunner's kind of a stupid idiot, so he just wants to be friendly with all dogs still. He just wants to make friends, be buddies, but just imagine if that one experience made Gunner aggressive. Like, I would have been so upset. Alright. Then, this one, there was less action, but it was another one of those where you get really upset. So this one happened a couple months ago. I was taking Gunner for a walk with my mom, actually, and we were just walking together, having a good time. Gunner was being really good. And then this man has his dog off leash, and he's across the road talking. The dog just walks across the road and goes up to me and Gunner. It's an unfixed lab, and is sniffing Gunner right in the face. So I'm over here trying to keep it away from Gunner, you know, keep Gunner on one side, me on the other side, and I'm yelling, get control of your dog, and he's not doing anything. Like, the man was across the street, and he wasn't even paying attention to his dog, which is the opposite of being a responsible dog owner. Like, the other dog was not fixed, it was a dominant male, and the man, I'm like, after a while, I go, sir, get control of your dog, or I will make sure that it gets out of my way. Because when it comes, I love animals, but if it came to my dog getting hurt, or someone else's dog getting hurt, to protect my dog, I would do it. Because that dog was baring its teeth, growling, fur was up. I was like, it's just a matter of time before it does something. And I was just glad Gunner, you know, is submissive, and he didn't do anything. The man finally came running over and, like, shooed his dog away, but, like, didn't even, like, get real control over it. So I'm like, okay, we gotta get out of here as soon as possible. And I was, like, looking behind us, and sure enough, the dog tried to lunge back. So I swung my arm out to, like, shoo it away. And the man was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, you're not. If you know your dog is like this, then you should have better control over it. I'm like, if this happens again, if I see this happening again, I will call the authorities, because first of all, having your dog off leash in town is illegal. And, like, okay, yeah, I'm one to talk because, you know, I, in my backyard, have my dog off leash, but at least I have an e-collar, which is like an invisible leash, you know? But anyway, this is the #1 scary thing that happened, and it happened this past week, May 1st, I think, on the Saturday. I think that was May 1st. Anyway, I worked all day on Friday. I came home a little bit in the middle of the day, but so this past week I've been watching people's horses and dogs and cats in the morning before I go to work, and then I work at a nutrition club, and then on Fridays and some Saturdays I work at a fitness center, and then after I'm done at the fitness center I go back to watch the horses and dogs and feed them and all that stuff. So that was a very long day for me. So thankfully, and you know, my mom, she takes care of my dog and stuff too. She loves him. But she went and took him to our woods and, you know, played fetch with him. Nothing crazy. Like, he loves fetch. But something must have happened, and the next morning, he couldn't walk without crying. So Saturday morning, I was supposed to go to work at the fitness center, but luckily the people who work there are so understanding. And they're like, no, Dana, take your dog to the emergency vet if you need to. Because I touched his back, and I was trying to figure out, like, where the pain was, just so that I could figure out. It was, like, right here on his hips. And I'm so surprised, like, he's such a good dog, and he trusts me so much, and I'm, like, so impressed, because when I was trying to feel what's wrong with him, I was, like, poking, and I was expecting, like, if something hurt him really bad, like, a nip, because when someone's doing something that is actively hurting you and obviously hurting you, you want to get them to stop it. So it would be a person's way of going, no, stop that, when you're, like, being hurt. And when I found where he was hurting, which was right on his hips, he just went, and then just looked at me, and he was like, it's okay. And I was like, oh my goodness, because he didn't even think of nipping. He just, like, looked, and then that's how I knew that that's where he was in pain. And I was like, okay, yeah, we should probably take him to an emergency vet. Well, funny story, when we take him to the emergency vet, we can't go inside because of COVID rules. So we're waiting. We get a call from the emergency vet, and they go, yeah, we can't really tell what's wrong with him. Yeah, he was doing all sorts of tricks. It was so funny. They go to me, he's like, the vet was like, wow, he's really well trained. He even gave us a rollover. I'm like, what? I'm like, I was so confused. But that's just how he is. When he's in a new, exciting environment, he just forgets about everything and is just like, oh my gosh, friends! So, you know, they gave him some anti-inflammatories because they're like, we could tell how he was walking. He was, like, stiff, but he was, like, not in pain, just a little bit sore. But it was so funny, after, like, 3 hours of waiting, they brought him out, and the first thing he did was run back and hide behind me. And he was they filled him up with fluids too. So he had, like, a camel hump, but then as the day went on, the hump kind of split apart, and it, like, at the end of the day, it looked like he had boobs, which was really funny. I don't have a picture of him when, like, the hump was down here, but I do have a video of when, like, the hump was on the side of him, because it was, like, kind of funny. And especially since he was doing well, and yeah, and we just had a follow-up appointment with him today, and the vet said that, with our normal vet, not the emergency vet, and she said, yeah, we think he's doing good, like, literally, we just think he was just really sore, but we are getting him some joint supplements now, so that in the future, we can be more prepared, because he's a very active dog, and I think he forgets that he isn't a puppy anymore. He's a 6.5-year-old man who can't do crazy things, like jump like crazy anymore. So now I'm gonna be giving him joint supplements, and hopefully things will be better. And also, now that it's getting warmer out, I can now do more active stuff with him, so he'll be more used to being active, whereas in the wintertime, he just hates being outside, and there's only so much you can do inside a small house. I'm hoping I can eventually get him a treadmill, so that he can go for runs, because he loves running, and a treadmill would give him the opportunity to run in an environment where you know what he's running on. You don't have to worry about his feet getting hurt, and he can pick his own pace, because it's one of those self-paced treadmills. And then during the winter time, he can stay continuously active, because that would be better for his body anyway. But anyway, those were my top 5 scary dog stories. Thank you for watching my video. If you watched it all the way through, you might as well just subscribe, honestly, since you made it this far, you know? But anyway, in all seriousness, if you subscribe, that would really mean a lot to me, because I'm a college student, money's kind of tight right now, and would help me out a lot if I had subscribers, so I could just maybe make a little side money from YouTube eventually, so that maybe I could get Gunner some nice things and stuff. Obviously, I'm not expecting to ever be able to do YouTube full-time, but I am hoping eventually in the future maybe I can use the money that I earn here to help out my dogs and maybe help out more dogs in the future, and just keep on entertaining you guys with dog content. But anyway, that is all for today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!